Okay, people still popping in, but I want to suggest that we start with our webinar. We have a small introduction before we give the presentation to Tim and Jasper. Welcome to the 11th edition of our WMUG NL webinars. Due to the COVID crisis, we decided to start hosting more regular webinars because we couldn't give any, or we couldn't organize any meetings on premises. The way it looks now, we will be in this situation for a while to come. So we are thinking about maybe hosting more webinars and seeing what's possible to organize on premises. But more on that once we have some more concrete information on that. Again, today, two presenters from the south of from Belgium. So they will present themselves later on. But before we continue, we would like to thank our sponsors, of course, because without the sponsors, we are not able to organize these kinds of meetings. So thanks to them. You can follow us on social media. We would really like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we can, with enough subscribers, we can get rid of that ugly URL and make it a URL which is more easily to be remembered.
And we need 100 as a minimum.
Oh yeah, we need 100. So if you all subscribe, I think we will become more and more closer to that number that we actually need. So if you want to, or you have an idea to present for yourself, you can actually submit a session proposal on our Sessionize page. The URL is provided here, and we encourage you to do so yourself. Don't be scared. We really want to provide a platform where everybody with an interesting topic can present for our user group. So please reach out to us, and if you want to present on an interesting topic, we will help you to make that happen. But enough talk from me. I want to give over the presentation to Jasper and Tim. Guys, we are really excited that you are presenting for our user group, so thanks in advance. And good luck with your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting. All right, let's kick off. So thanks for hosting. We're glad to be here speaking at your user group. Our session will be about MDATP, or the rebranded Defender for Endpoints, as it's been called now, and how you can integrate Chocolatey, a third-party product, to keep your software updated and your vulnerability score low. So my name is Hermie. I'm a modern workplace architect at Synergics. Next to that, I'm also a technical trainer, an MCT. So my job is mostly a mixture of some consultancy, technical pre-sales, and delivering trainings, internal as well as external. I also work closely together with Jasper, whom you'll get to know in a minute. We work together on custom offerings for our clients. I also designed a modular matrix for our Intune projects so that our customers can put together their own project with building blocks. I advise and train our junior engineers, also our internships. And since May, I can call me a Microsoft MVP Enterprise Mobility. And I'm really happy with the recognition I got from Microsoft for all the work I do for the community. I'm a frequent blogger at cloudboy.be, mostly with a big focus on Intune. So my blogs will be mostly Intune related, a little bit Windows Virtual Desktop related. I'm also a founding board member together with Jasper of the Microsoft Cloud and Client Management community in Belgium, MC2MC. It's a community we started with 8 like-minded people, some already well known in the community, and we organize a lot of events. We are hosting monthly events virtual, so be sure to check out our site and register for our events.
Good afternoon, Jasper Bernaers. I recently became the CTO of Synergics. I was in the lead of the modern workplace team over the last year at Synergics, and therefore was in the field doing consultancy together with Tim and other colleagues. Now focusing more on the broad segment, also Microsoft security, more in a people role. So I need to be still up to date with the technical side. Now that's the next challenge. I'm writing some blogs on jasperbernaers.com, but more long-term of strategic or why Microsoft, not only in depth or technical, but a broad spectrum. And you can find me on Twitter. So today the agenda is what is Microsoft Defender ATP. I will keep saying Microsoft Defender ATP. Now the new name is Microsoft Defender for endpoints. Why we're choosing this solution and how we can integrate it with Chocolatey. Chocolatey is a distribution system which you use in combination to achieve something what Microsoft cannot offer so simple. How we deploy Chocolatey, what the other options are for your endpoint management and software distribution and all these things. We will deliver some takeaways and we will bring the both products together with some conclusions. So what is Microsoft Defender ATP? Microsoft Defender ATP is the advanced, the Microsoft Defender for endpoints is the advanced threat protection for all your devices. It's cross-platform. Now recently announced the iOS. You can also do the mobile device management. It's not a big evolution now, but in the end you will be able to gather telemetry and information from all your endpoints, not only Windows 10. Maybe later the servers, all things will combine in Microsoft Defender ATP. It's optimized for simplicity. What we mean by that is it's easy to deploy. It's like you deploy other software. You can plug it in an Intune. We will show it in some demos. So it's easy to optimize and integrate. And it's not only, it has no limitations like a traditional antivirus. You have a lot of flexibility and you can do a lot of integrations when you want to do more security operations or security management, because you have the rich API set. You can connect, you can create dashboards, you can do smart things with MDATP, and it's both on-premise and cloud connected. And if you look on how Microsoft is positioning it, it's more the commercial pitch, but some things are important here when we compare it to antivirus. It's not only threat and vulnerability management, you also have the attack surface reduction, you have next generation protection. For example, you have the modern web protection, you have the endpoint detection and response. That's the more important thing, or the more modern approach. You can do smart things. You can isolate the device when it has the risk. You can say compliance policies and manage the growth of your workplace. And you can do automated investigation and remediation. Microsoft has also a third line people which you can do engagement with Microsoft. And if you cannot fix the problems, you can escalate to Microsoft and they will help you with the investigation and the remediation of real problems in your workplace. And that's the Microsoft threat experts. And now let's show, oh, sorry, this slide. So the modern web protection, it's part of the next generation protection. It's any device, anywhere, and it's intelligent. I think it's a big advantage of MDATP, because you need it for any device, not only Windows 10. You need to go broad and take every device and everything in your solution. And anywhere, of course, it's not bound on-premise or remote working. It doesn't matter where you are. And then let's show some dashboarding here of the Microsoft Defender ATP. So in this list, let's go to device inventory. So what you see here in securitycenter.microsoft.com are two devices, just a demo configuration here. You can see it's a device which exposure level is low. You can filter on more months, yeah, see more devices which are removed probably or something like that. And if you click on a device, you can see real threats inventory of the device. In the first pane, you see an overview where you can easily see exposure level. You can see security recommendations, software installation, and we will come to the point where we can improve these things with Chocolatey. You have alerts. These are real alerts, not that much for this device, but still the risk level is medium. You can see a timeline of evolutions that Tim has made in his lab. Sorry, and you can see the security recommendation where you can see which things you need to improve. When you go to the software inventory, where it's all about this case, you can see software that is not or not yet updated well, and where you can do improvements to upgrade them with Chocolatey later on. Discovered vulnerabilities, the heartbleeds examples, the things that you need to patch as soon as possible will also always show here for all your devices of this specific device and all Microsoft missing KBs. And then why Microsoft Defender ATP quick wins? I think when we do the implementations, we just activate it sometimes in a POC on a demo where we activate 30 machines and gather all information. So you have the software inventory, you can scan all machines. It's quite complex for a lot of organizations to find out which software they are having. Because you use MDATP in a pilot, you can discover all software inventory, make an export, and you have actual data. Because if you ask customers, it will take some time before they find out, and they don't have the real data in a lot of cases. You have the security recommendation where you can directly grow security improvements. You can see what the high risk is and the easy things to fix. You have the web threat protection, and of course, cloud app security, where you can see where is data or document data shifting and moving in your company or your customer's company. And then it's something we are trying to fill the gap. In the early days, you had the security operation team, which was responsible for securing and monitoring of and reducing risks of companies. They were analyzing threats, doing real in-depth security things, and they had a priority on things to fix that was, in most cases, more complex or slow implementation. They had the roadmap quite soon, and it was complex to implement all these things, or it will take time. At the other hand, you had the IT team who was not always willing to help security operation because if there is a fix, it costs time to implement, and they were responsible for the current environment. They are doing analysis, they are changing things, but on a low scale to be sometimes stable in cost, stable in operation. And we believe that you need to bring these two together and find your gaps in the security operation to automation with MDATP, for example, but also if there isn't software updated necessary for Windows 10, we use Chocolatey and we create a ticket in the portal of Intune and bring it to the IT team and bring these two parties closer together. The most risk in the workplace is still identity protection. At 80% is identity management and multi-factor authentication. And the second risk for breaches is still software patching, because a lot of companies are still not patching crucial, simple software. And that's why this session is about. What you can see here is the integration between Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Microsoft Defender Security Center. We will show it in a demo now, how you can create a ticket when you are in the security operation team. On the right side, you see top security recommendations, for example, update TeamViewer or Windows 10. And from here, you can create tickets. If you're in security operation team and you're doing your daily check or monthly or weekly check, you can see which improvements are feasible for your organization. You can click on remediation options, where you can, and then later on create a ticket with a priority to fix it by the modern workplace or the Intune or the endpoint management team. You can say, please fix this. This is a critical, it has a big exposure, and you can submit it to the Intune team. So here in the security task, the task will come. It will take some time, 30 seconds normally, something like that. But you get the point.
A bit longer.
Yeah. You get the point. The task will come here as a security task, and it can be picked up. There it is. I don't know. It will. You can pick it up by your operational management team or your IT team. Understand the task, the need, and then fix this specific problem. But we will see it the next. We will go back in 5 minutes.
So let's talk a little bit now about why we should implement Chocolatey first, because it's in fact simple. There's a problem. We often hear that managing Windows software can be frustrating or time-consuming experience. Teams have some automated approaches, but have identified gaps in the experience. Newer automation approaches like DevOps and configuration management tools still don't fully address Windows software management in an easy and maintainable way. And some of the most common challenges include time. The manual approach for software deployment is very time consuming and inefficient up till today. The complexity, traditional tools are complex and ineffective in today's IT environment. The cost, deploying and managing Windows software without standard package management results in additional overheads. So with the ongoing confusion, where should we start? What is the best approach? And it's like in the last bullet point here, software management is a little bit like the Wild West. So what are the main reasons why we are promoting Chocolatey? And there are other solutions also. We'll come to that later. The first one, the different installer formats. There are a lot of different installer formats and multiple approaches of deploying Windows software. Deploying software without package management on Windows can be very complicated and time consuming. The zips and other archive formats. System engineers can spend hours deploying and configuring Windows software manually. Traditional tools were not built for modern automation and a DevOps approach, which can make achieving consistency and gaining insights across your environment very difficult sometimes. Software installers are messy. We all know that. Some installers have silent commands. Real legacy software don't even have silent commands. It's always a mess to package them correctly, and mostly the legacy software. We have the different installer formats, the MSIs, MSIX, the XAs. And next to those different installer formats, we also have the issues of zip files and other archive formats. And I'm sure you all know there are a lot of archive formats out there today, regular zip files, RAR files, 7-zip files. There is really no uniformity in it. And this is what makes the life of a packager or a software deployer really hard. So software management may account for 50 to 90% of your automation. Software installers are messy. Desktop admins or Intune admins out there know this, especially the old legacy software. And then the main question, how are we handling third-party software updates up till now? There's no built-in solution from Microsoft to do it, but it only has advantages to keep your third-party software up to date. If we do it all manually and we always have to repackage every software and distribute it, it's really time-consuming. So how are we handling third-party software updates up till now? Do we configure them with GPOs? Do we just don't update them? From experience, I can say that from a lot of projects, I can see they just get deployed and never updated. And some people can say, yeah, if it's working, what's wrong with that? But we should update our applications to keep the vulnerability low, because if we see an MDATP in a project that we are doing, the first thing we do is we onboard the devices in MDATP and we check their software. We see that the most vulnerabilities come from outdated software. So if you can implement a framework, a free framework or a paying framework, if you choose, why would you not do it to keep that gap very narrow? So what is Chocolatey? And I'll start with a brief history of what Chocolatey is. Chocolatey was created by Rob Reynolds in 2011 with the simple goal of offering a universal approach, a universal package manager for Windows. Chocolatey is an open source project that provides developers and admins a better way to manage Windows software. With more versions of software to support and endless updates, because software keeps having updates, their goal was to help the customers become efficient and innovative software-driven organizations. They have some different flavors in Chocolatey. We have the free version, the community-based version, but there's also a for business edition, the paid edition. And the for business edition focuses on 3 value-added areas: improved security, enhanced productivity features, and enabling more visibility. The difference also between the free version of Chocolatey and the paid version or the for business version. The for business version is, of course, dedicated with support, services, and a roadmap. The community version is all built on community, so you should know that it's maintained by the community also. Business solution is a paid solution, of course. There are other solutions also that if you look into the paid solution that may be more worth to look at, but I'll come back to that in a bit. So the story of modern automation for Windows is, in a nutshell, what Chocolatey is all about. It's community-based. It's a community package repository. If you don't know Chocolatey yet, you can go to the link chocolatey.org/packages, and you can see that there are a lot of packages in there. What's my approach on what do I deploy with Chocolatey and what do I package myself? If I go to a client, and we're talking here about mid-sized clients, not enterprise clients, and they give me the list of all the software that they want deployed on their devices, I'm going to see what software has a license on it, because that will not be available in Chocolatey. And the software that has no license on it, I will always check if is it available in Chocolatey, and then I will decide if I will deploy it with Chocolatey or not. There are a lot of packages in Chocolatey, but they also have ratings. It's with a circle, a full green circle means that the package is ready for production, or you can play around with it. It should be okay. But you also have a red circle and a semi-red, semi-green circle. So there are a lot of packages in there, but not all of them are really production-wise ready. You should know that also. It's a community feed. It's community maintained. You can, of course, upload your own package. It will go to the process. It will go through VirusTotal. So everything should be secure. I'm saying here should be secure because it's still community-based, and you don't have 100% certainty that something can get in. So you should also keep that in mind. I also had a call a few weeks ago with another MVP, Harjit, he wanted some more info about Chocolatey, and he also came to the conclusion that Chocolatey is good in certain scenarios, but if we are looking at enterprise customers, this won't be the solution that you will choose. You will more look like a paid solution like Patch My PC, which gives you more control and more security-wise will be better also. So how can we deploy Chocolatey? And we have different methods of deploying it. First of all, it runs on the power of PowerShell, so it's easy to deploy. We can deploy PowerShell scripts with Intune, and it's in 3 phases. So first, we're going to deploy the Chocolatey agent, which is a simple 1-line PowerShell script. We deploy that to our clients, and the Chocolatey agent will get installed. What does that mean? It will get installed in C program data, Chocolatey, choco.exe. So all the PowerShell scripts we push from after that on, they will talk with the agent. After that, I deploy the auto upgrade. What does that do? It creates a scheduled task, and you can specify the time frame yourself. But let's say, for example, that every login, it will check all the Chocolatey packages if there is an update available in the repository online. If there is an update available, it will install automatically in silence. So your end users should see nothing about it. And then we will deploy our applications. You can see in the screenshot that I split all my PowerShell scripts in separate scripts. You can, of course, put it all together in one PowerShell script. Why do I split it in different scripts? Monitoring-wise, if I put it all in one script, the Chocolatey agent installation, the upgrade installation, and all my applications, and one application fails, I have to go look in the logs, and this way I split it up and I can monitor it better. What can be said about this here? If you deploy it this way, let's say we all deployed separate scripts, you will see that a lot of scripts will go and failed, and that's because the agent has to be installed first. So when the agent is installed, you'll see after an hour, when the Intune management extension runs again, that all your other scripts will become okay also, and the packages will get installed. So this is one method. You can deploy it with PowerShell in separate scripts. It's very easy to deploy. Everybody can do it. If you go to the site of Chocolatey, all the PowerShell scripts, they are there. So you just have to create them in separate scripts and deploy them with Intune. But what have I noticed is that you don't have much control over it. You can push it. It's an ecosystem, the Chocolatey ecosystem inside Intune that works. It will keep on working, but you don't have much control over it. Of course, there's another option. We can deploy it as a Win32 app, a .Intune Win app. Also easy to deploy, but here we unlock the full capabilities of the Intune Win. We have the system requirements. We can put in a device restart behavior. We can work with detection rules, dependencies. We can link Chocolatey packages together. We can see a device install status. So that this gives us a lot more options when we are deploying Chocolatey packages. The advantage here also is you only have to create one PowerShell script, and you don't even have to create it yourself. If you want to check it out, Michael Maardal, and I'll put the link in the chat later, has created it. You can use his PowerShell script. He also wrapped it already as an Intune Win file. So with one Intune Win file, you can deploy all your Chocolatey packages. It's always your installation command that will be different. So if you check the installation command of Wireshark, and let's say we want to install Chrome, the install line will be the same. Just the parameter after package will be Chrome. So the one Intune Win file will be your golden Intune Win to keep on using for all your Chocolatey packages. So that is how I implement it at customers now. I used to do it with PowerShell, but if you deploy it this way, you have a lot more of options, and especially the dependencies are a really great feature that you can link some packages together. But let me show you. I'll accept the security task if it's already arrived there, and I'll show you how it is set up in my tenant. He doesn't want. All right, so if we go to endpoint.microsoft.com or the Intune blade, we go to scripts. You can see here, like I said, that I split up all my installations with Chocolatey. So first you have the Choco agent that installs. I install this always in system context, and all the rest I mostly install in user context. So if you want to follow this method, what is important to know, you'll deploy the agent, the auto upgrade all, which will check for the updates of your Chocolatey packages. And you can have one script per program or per Chocolatey program you want to deploy. What is the other way? If we go to apps, all apps, you see here that I have .NET 3.5 Chocolatey. And the advantages here are that you have the requirements. So you can say, I only want this Chocolatey package installed on this architecture or from this Windows build on. Like I said, the install command will always be the same. The only thing that will be different is your package name, and your package name, you can find that easily on the Chocolatey website. I'll show you also. So chocolatey.org, find packages. You just look what you're looking, search what you're looking for. Let's say Chrome. Let's take another one. There, and you'll see Choco install Firefox. So if we do it this way, the only thing changing here will be Firefox, and you will install it. The uninstall command is also always the same. It's just your package name will change. So the requirements are a great advantage. The detection rules are also a great advantage. You can work with registry detection rules. You can work with pods. So if you choose file, that it checks if it's already installed. But the biggest advantage for me is the dependencies. And let me see if I have one that's linked. I don't think so. So you can link packages together. An example I can show, say com tools. Let's say you have different packages that depend on each other, even Chocolatey packages. A good example here is the Belgium EID viewer. You have the Belgium EID middleware and the viewer. The viewer will only work when the middleware is installed. We can deploy them both with Chocolatey, so we can link them together. So we will only assign the viewer, and the viewer will be dependent on the middleware. So it will check if the middleware is installed. If it's not installed, it will install automatically, and afterwards the viewer will get installed. Right. What are some other options? Because of course there are other options outside of Chocolatey. Chocolatey is a great product, but like I said, it has its limitations and it's not made for enterprise organizations. We see a great fit in the smaller organizations, up to 600 seats maybe. Patch My PC for Intune. It's a well-known product. It also exists for Config Manager, so a lot of people will know it already. It's a really great product. It's easy to set up. It's license-based, so it's paid, but the license for me personally is really cheap, but it's $2.50 per device per year. So if you do the math in your organization, what you get for it to keep your software patched all the time, to keep your vulnerabilities very low, I can only recommend it. What's the downside? Chocolatey has no dependencies or no infrastructure dependencies. You can say it's serverless. It just pulls from the online repository. Patch My PC does have some requirements. So you have to run the Patch My PC publishing service. It can run on a Windows 10 VM or on a server. You can run it in Azure. The VM or the computer doesn't have to be domain joined also. It just have to have access to the internet. What can Patch My PC do that Chocolatey can't? Automated application creation. So Chocolatey is something that you deploy, and it's an ecosystem that works. You don't have much control over it, like I said. You can see when an update is there. You can see it on your desktop that you have the new icon, but you can't follow up from an admin's perspective. And that's the big difference with Patch My PC. Patch My PC will create the applications in your Intune tenant. It will, if there is an update, it will create a new application. It will assign it automatically. It will deassign the older application. And the same for the updates. It will also automatically create the updates in your Intune tenant. So you have more control over deployments, a lot more control, and a lot more options. But I can show you also. So if we look here, in our organization, Synergix, we are using Patch My PC, of course. So I don't have it running on premises. We're a cloud change agent. We like to have things running in the cloud. So I've made a simple standard B2 MS VM that's really cheap, that's running to do its job, and you don't need more for the Patch My PC publishing service. How does it look like if I connect to the VM? If you want to install the Patch My PC publishing service for Intune, I have a blog in 5 parts, full dummy proof that you can follow. So you can go to my blog if you want more info on how to set it up. And you see 2 tabs here. If we open the publishing service, we have the Intune apps, where you can choose what standard apps you want to deploy. And you have the Intune update. So The apps will deploy the app, the Chrome version 7, for example, and the Intune update will do the updates for the version 7. How does it work? Let's say I want to do Adobe Air also. And click on apply. We have the sync schedule, so it syncs once every day. If you want to trigger it, you can just click here, run publishing sync, service sync, and it will create the application in Intune. So that's the big difference with Chocolatey. You have a little bit more control. So if we go now to our tenant, so endpoint.microsoft.com, apps, all apps. You can see here what I mean. So it will create an application, Adobe Acrobat Reader DC 20.963. If there is an update, it will automatically create it here. It will deassign the older version and it will assign the newer version. And the same goes for the updates. These are the applications. And if you go down a little bit, you will see the updates. So this is all happening automatically, but it gives you as an IT admin more flexibility or more monitoring, more follow-up on what is happening afterwards. Of course, you have to clean up all the old packages. You can also make that happen automatically with Patch My PC. And for the rest, it's an Intune Win app it creates. So you still have the full Intune Win capabilities, like I said before. If you want, you can link them with dependencies. There are just some things you can't change, the install command, the uninstall command, and the detection rules. It uses a custom detection script, so don't change that. If you want, you can change the requirements, add some dependencies that you can do. Let's go back to the slides.
Yes, we have some key takeaways up till now, and these are implement Microsoft Defender ATP if your budget allows it. I'm more fan to use Microsoft Defender ATP and use a little bit, or it's quite a big budget compared to Microsoft 365 E3 or Office 365 E3. It's better to invest more in Microsoft Defender ATP and take a Chocolatey solution that is free for small business or super small customers, because you will have more security improvements. If the customer only wants software distribution, you can choose to do it different or choose only Chocolatey. But in the security importance which is growing, I think it's better to invest more in security and have things measurable. And if you are in the track of Microsoft Defender ATP, you can check device vulnerabilities. You can grow your security at your customers. It's quite easy to integrate Chocolatey. The effort of custom package updates for standard third-party internet solutions is less, so less time. So you can use that budget for MDATP. Like they mentioned, that deploy Chocolatey apps as Windows 32-bit apps, make apps auto-updating. There is the risk if you do a faulty update. That's the risk, but the security risk is most of the times bigger. And you can also work in phases. You can buy the Chocolatey license, or you can go patch my PC in case you want to have more control. But now we have a lot of customers with just automated. We never had issues with Chocolatey. I think that's a risk to take, but they are also not patching always on 0 day, so you have some time. It's segmented; they cannot afford to update all their customers at the same time, and you also have the limitations in your workplace. You will know when there is a problem, and make use of the security task from the security operation more to Intune to have some registration of logging when you have created these tasks. Maybe we could show the task, Tim, if it's already there.
Let's see. There are a lot of issues with no, it's not here yet. It's strange.
It's working great now, but it can take some time.
Maybe a
there.
question in the meantime. Marcel has a question about can you control the assignments, select your own groups, and can you manage multiple tenants with Patch My PC?
We will answer this one, but we have one slide still.
Okay, cool.
To close this off. So there's the key takeaways, and then we try to combine the two products to deliver the security improvements, and to have control on your security risks.
There's one thing we still have to show, and if you look at my device, it's the device I'm presenting on now. I have a lot of risk level because I'm doing a lot of testing here. But if you look at the vulnerabilities in my software inventory, and it's a mixture of I deploy with Patch My PC, but I also deploy with Chocolatey in my tenant, in my test tenant, and you can see that my weaknesses are really low. My team viewer I installed manually. I have one vulnerability. Maybe I better push it also. Putty the same. I also installed it manually. But you can see all the applications that are deployed either way with Chocolatey or either way with Patch My PC. My weaknesses are always on 0. Maybe I have some weaknesses for 1 day or 2 days because Chocolatey is a little bit not so fast as Patch My PC. It can take a few days before it gets updated, but the risk will also be very low if you don't update it at all. So for me, that's the most value of implementing a system like this. Keep your weaknesses of your applications low, so you don't give hackers doors to enter or to take advantage of exploits. And to answer the question, you can of course assign it at groups like you want. If you use Chocolatey, it's either way how you deploy it. Do you deploy it with the Win32 app? It's standard behavior. You can even put it as an available app in your company portal, but you can assign it to groups as required, as available. So of course you can choose your own groups and see how it goes. For the PowerShell scripts, it works the same. You can deploy the PowerShell scripts to your groups. That's the same. For Patch My PC, it's also the same. But Patch My PC is even more powerful that you can assign from in here. So you don't have to assign in Intune. You can even click here, manage assignments, and you can see it's in our pilot group. If I click here on add assignments, you can see all the groups that are in our tenant. You can choose one. Click on OK. As if I click on OK now, and if I sync it, it will also get deployed to this group. So that works really great. Is Patch My PC made for multiple tenants? I'm not sure, but I don't think that's the use case of the product, because you have to.
No, we don't try make it that complex. We make it easy for a lot of customers with standards for Chocolatey and Patch My PC.
You have to register an application, so you only can add one application here with the secret. So I don't think it's made for multi-tenant, but you can set it up for every tenant, and I would also advise that pure complexity-wise.
Yeah.
I don't believe so either, but maybe the new Lighthouse brings some options.
Maybe,
for possibilities.
I don't think there will be ever a solution that you can do it on a proper way, because it has too much risks, I think, and definitely for security. Yeah, this was a closure thing, lower security score, lower exposure, so we have more time to do improvements things or lazy things. Thank you.
We have some time for questions if there are some left.
I have, it's not really a question, but more like a remark. It's actually quite good that actually the Win32 applications is being used, because within Intune we also have the option to actually get log files from failed installations if we actually use that option. So it's real good to see that actually that option is being used. So besides having the you can have dependencies between the applications.
Mhm.
If you do proper logging and you know which log file you need, you can actually get that log file as well. And my question was more related. If you use Chocolatey, is everything logged within one specific log file, or do you need to enable it? Do you know that?
It is logged, yeah. So I can go to the flow. If you deploy it with PowerShell, like here, or with an N32 app, if your PowerShell script fails, you'll have to look in the Intune management extension logs because there's something wrong with the PowerShell script. If your PowerShell script is okay, but your application doesn't get installed, it's something that's an issue Chocolatey-wise, and I can show you where you have to look then. Program data, Chocolatey, and everything is here in the logs. So you have the summary, and that's the Chocolatey log as a full log. So if an application doesn't get installed, maybe it's already installed, or it's you have to force it for the first time, which also happens. You will find it here. So you have one log to go to. Also, what I can give you more as advice, and that's what I'm doing now. We can deploy it with a Win32 app, and it's really great. But if you are implementing this for current devices or devices with already a lot of third-party software on, it will just detect that it's installed and it will not run the script. So mostly I deploy it both ways. So if I have a new customer that we are enrolling hybrid joins, so we keep all the software that's on their device already, I will push the PowerShell scripts to let Chocolatey take over, and afterwards I will also push the Win32 apps. So it's double work, but you can clean up the PowerShell scripts afterwards. If you don't do it this way, the Win32 apps will only detect that it's installed and they will not run the PowerShell script. So Chocolatey will not take over. So take that in mind also when deploying it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Other questions?
You can also unmute. If that's easier.
That's easier.
We can also unmute everyone and see what happens.
That would be fun.
You could try. There's a question where we can find the install scripts for Choco Agent. Is a good question. Let's show the website or.
Yes.
It's just easy. It's just written on the Chocolatey website. If you do basic deployments, everything is there.
It's in the packages, I think, the auto upgrades. Let me check. Upgrade. Yes, it's unofficial. It's this one. But if you look into it, you can specify parameters also. So you have just look on Choco upgrade. You can upgrade them at every login. What I mostly deploy, but you can also check once a week, once a month. You can specify it yourself. And the only thing this does is create a scheduled task. I can show that also. So you see here, it creates a scheduled task, Choco upgrade all startup. That will just do this command. And it triggers at system startup. So every time my system starts up or I boot, it will run the command. It will check in the background, is there an update for one of my Chocolatey packages? And it will install it silently. The only thing that the end user will notice is a new icon on their desktop. But I don't know, let me see. And they just will get a new icon here. So you can see something is installed on their desktop, but that's the only way to check it. And like I said, Chocolatey is a great product and it's great for certain organizations. but it's something that you configure and it works. It's an ecosystem that works, so you don't have to look further into it. If there is an issue, you have to dive in the logs. So that's the downside of it.
The question of Martijn is a good question. I think you want to achieve that you see reporting on installation base. That's the question, I think. Why not detect if the existence of the package is in? That's a question, I think. We have created some reports for some customers, but it depends on what you want to achieve. I bet it's just distribution. It just works. And if it doesn't work, you see it, for example, on MDATP. If you don't use it, it's testing, and you can create policies to check if packages are installed.
Yep. That's the only
it works for
downside.
one. If it works for one customer, it's working for the second one. If the scenario is, for example, full cloud, just Intune, it's quite easy. If it's working for one package, copy paste.
Reporting wise, you'll get better monitoring with PatchMyPC. If you want, you can build custom reports like we are busy doing now with Graph API, but it will take some investment.
And testing is required. Reporting is one thing, but testing on stability. And Chocolatey is showing also a score of deployment success on their website, or how much problems they have with specific packages.
Yeah. The community behind Chocolatey is also great. So if you have an issue with a package that you can't deploy and you put it on the comments, you will see that the community will get on it, and the person who made the package will make some actions and make sure it works again. We had some issues like that before with Adobe Reader that didn't install, and we contacted them through the website, and it was fixed really fast.
Yeah, it's more scale than internal teams, so it should be better. What I mean, are you? You see the question, Tim?
Nope, I'm not looking at the questions. Give me a second. That could be an option. I haven't tested it yet, but it could work. Yeah, it's a valid point. It's a good point. Yep.
Just detection of a directory created.
There are, you can put date and stuff also on, see if it's created, but I mostly do it dually. I just upload the PowerShell scripts, deploy them, and afterwards I upload the Intune wins. There are multiple options, but it's a great valid point. Yeah, I'm gonna test it.
Yeah, or will you have the option that if you check on the directory, that the directory name is actually the same over multiple versions?
Yeah,
so that might be a risk.
There the problem starts of well, not good enough for reporting. I bet.
Yeah.
It's great to give on a customer and see you can find the reporting here and you see distribution and failure. That's great. But to have quality on the packages, I don't think that's enough.
And to be honest, from experience-wise, we implemented a lot at the mid-size or the small companies, and we never had any issues with the Chocolatey. They were all really happy. So I can only promote it.
Yeah. And you have you can buy the Chocolatey license and see the versioning, and you see more. That's also a possibility. But then you go to the more expensive things. Maybe you can choose PatchMyPC then and go from there.
Yeah, because did you mention the pricing for the Chocolatey commercial version?
For business, it's not that cheap. Let me show Chocolatey for business. That's why if I choose a paid solution, I would rather go for Patch My PC.
Yeah.
I think it's $13 a device or something.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah,
especially
Yeah,
if
but
you,
you
it's
can
not
also
cheap.
go.
Yeah.
$16 per license per year. So yeah, it's not cheap. And to be honest, I also try to set it up because you have to run a VM and it uses NuGet or Win, and it's not so easy to set up. Also, for the people that want to play around with it, you can start a trial, and they also give away some licenses for 3 months if you want to play with it in your organization. So you can contact them, and you will get a reply.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
But paid solution, I would always go for Patch My PC because their pricing is really, I don't think there will be someone who can top that easily.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends. It depends. Maybe it's if you don't want to go in depth, if you're not that technical, Chocolatey is maybe easier.
Yeah.
It's more user friendly. Self-service included.
Yeah. Interesting.
They also released the Chocolatey portal, like the company portal, that they can install it themselves. So that's also maybe interesting. But I still have to look into that also.
And guys, we of course now have the package manager within PowerShell itself. Have you investigated whether that's applicable, or isn't the amount of applications being offered there isn't enough?
I haven't played around with it too much. I have to look into it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know it's there. I've installed some apps with it, but I didn't integrate it yet with Intune or so. But it's on my roadmap for the end of the year to look into it.
And still the complexity of the updating. I think that's you're coming back to where it all started. I think the value of these solutions is update management and quite fast and automated. And I don't think there will be a feasible solution of Microsoft of other parties to build that.
No, I think the power of Chocolatey is, of course, the community behind it.
Yeah.
Keeping the packages updated and helping with all those nice installers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, guys, if there are no more questions, I want to suggest the following. We actually recorded this meeting, so we will share that. If you would be so kind to actually share your slides with us, I can share that with the attendees as well.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Please leave your contact details so people can reach out to you. But you already mentioned your Twitter handles. I think that would be a convenient way to reach out to you as well. I have one last slide I want to share with. Let me see where I have it. That's actually this one. It's only one slide, but first of all, I want to thank everybody for visiting our virtual event at the WMUG. Tim and Jasper, thank you for taking the time and presenting on this interesting topic. It's always nice to see what can be done with community tools, and I think actually the fact that patching doesn't take place and that a solution like this can really help is something we see at a lot of customers. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So thanks. And well, if we meet each other in face-to-face again, we definitely owe you a good Belgian beer with maybe some Belgian chocolate going with it as well. And well, everyone, thanks for your time. And you will receive an email with all the up-to-date information on this 11th WMUG webinar. So thank you for attending. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.